I'm ready for all today, through all the pain, all the way, the fight for all, my life, the love, we're taking it all the way,
Tip, super important. All right. You're in the forest. Big bear comes at you. Big bear, like a big grizzly bear, killer bear. They're like apex predators. You see one, you better run. Something. Actually, you probably can't run faster than that because I'm pretty sure bears, I'm going to Google it, but I think they can go up to 25 miles per hour. Grizzly bear top speed. 35 miles per hour.
Oh, hell no.
They can reach up to 35 miles per hour. Polar bears, 25 miles per hour. Regular bears,
yeah, they're coming.
30. Moose hits 35 miles per hour with those big antlers. Imagine that.
Oh, man. Anyway. Well, yeah, moose seems like it would be a little uncoordinated.
I know. Okay, so a grizzly bear, big boy, grizzly bear coming at you. Brown bear's 35. I don't remember. A gorilla's 25. Holy hell.
Oh, man, a gorilla's becoming
forcefully,
bro.
I know. Oh, my. With intent, with dirty intent.
Right.
A grizzly bear's coming at you, Tip. What do you do?
Right. Do I have a gun?
No.
Oh, man. Bro, because you can't climb trees because they can climb trees too, right?
Yeah, they got some agility too.
Oh man, bro, maybe hopefully there's a river nearby and just go swim in the river and then an alligator will get me. Watch, see, that's this type of luck that I would have.
Yeah, that's everybody's luck. You should see my fantasy team.
I don't know what the hell I would do, bro. I would probably freeze up. You know what? I did hear this though. Wait, I did hear this. Bears are scared of certain sounds though, because I remember I saw a video of this bear coming after this dude, and he started just making all sorts of just going crazy, and then the bear just kind of stopped and looked at him, and then didn't do much of anything.
I did see that video. I did see that video too. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. But let me tell you the correct answer. The correct answer is give him a football. They'll find a way to mess it up.
You can't do that to me, Nader. I'm getting over this cold, man. Damn, that was a good one, bro. That was a good one.
I mean, like, I don't know. They found every single way to mess everything up.
Wow.
just give it a football. Just give it a football. Yeah,
that was good.
Oh God.
I like it, man. I like that one.
God. Yeah. I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. You know, the problem is, you know, it's easy jokes to make about what happened to the Bears on Thanksgiving with the horrible clock management.
Oh, it was bad.
It was horrendous, but I don't think it was as bad as it sounded and as it looked. Because I understand what the coach was doing. You know, he wanted one more play, get the ball in field goal range, and then use the timeout. If you use the timeout, then you can't get it in field. I mean, you could. You have a shot for a play, but then at that point, you know, you need a sideline shot, and they're just not going to give that up to you.
Yeah.
Well, I blame the offense. I blame the offense in that scenario because they shouldn't have had that penalty. Then they took a huge sack, Caleb Williams' fault, and then that took them out of field goal range. They were well into the field goal range. It was like 3rd and 27. They had, like, it's that offense's fault, in my opinion, not the head coach's fault. As David Montgomery, this is being recorded on a Thursday night. Right now, David Montgomery rushed up to the side for it looked like a 17-yard gain. Oof. But anyway, Tip, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, look, so my thing with the whole Bears situation that they went through last week was that was something that could have been avoided if you prepare for it. And that's one of the things I think that Matt Eberflus did not do well with his team. He didn't seem like he had that team prepared. If you prepare for those types of things in training, OTAs, training camp, practices, during the week before the games. Like, you have to practice everything. That's what some of these great coaches, they practice everything. And you know what? I'm going to say this real quick. I watched the Hard Knocks last night. And I'm not a fan of going with 4 different teams for Hard Knocks because it allows me to miss some of the things that Coach Mike Tomlin says, or, really out of those, or Coach John Harbaugh, maybe you want to hear something, but I want to hear what these coaches have to say, and it takes away from it because a lot of these coaches will put everything on the table, will look at the coin every single way, and they'll say, look, this is a scenario that could happen. And that's what makes a good coach to me. You are prepared for every single situation. And they weren't prepared.
And you could see the differences between coaches. There's ones like the McVays in the world, the Shanahans, potentially Shanahans, I don't know anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The LaFleurs, Reeds and all that. Even Sean Payton, probably, honestly.
Yeah.
You can see the ones that they check all the boxes. They're practicing every single situation, making sure everybody's aware.
Yep.
And it's clear the ones that don't prepare or just kind of say, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, I have a very nonchalant or in today's memes, chill guy personality, but yeah, I'm not a head coach. I don't need to be. So right now, go ahead.
Neither am I.
Yeah, true. So, I mean, in today's episode, we're going to be doing a lot of discussions. More importantly, for the later part of the episode, we're definitely going to be talking about those later round guys that have had huge impacts on your teams. I'm not necessarily talking about waivers because we're going to be talking about that in a moment.
Yeah.
But I hope on a side note, I hope everybody spent their waiver priority, whatever fab, if they have that in their league, on Isaac Garingo. Hopefully I said his name right, but for multiple reasons, because
you were close. Garindo,
some shit like that. Anyway, last week's episode, we preached going for those guys to help your playoff push for multiple reasons. One, I mean, he's now thrusted an RB1 for a Shanahan. He's going to be productive regardless. I could be productive. Maybe not, but I could be productive in that offense. 2, keep away. And we preached that in, I'm not sure if that was last week's episode or the week before that, for getting ready for the playoffs. We preached keep away. You know what? Not only did you get an RB1, but now somebody else doesn't get an RB1.
Right.
And he can't use that against you. Like, for example, in a league that I'm in, my current RB situation, I don't even think he can start in my starting lineup. For example, my running backs are Kyron Williams, Bijan Robinson, James Cook.
Damn.
Tony Pollard's on my bench. Gus Edwards is also on my bench. And now, hey, Isaac Garingo, he's on my bench.
Yeah.
I had waiver priority number 1. I haven't used it all year, or maybe since the beginning of the year, I haven't used it. And I said, you know what? This is a good time to use it because I don't want somebody else having him. And he's going to rot on my bench. But you know what? That's fantasy football. We're playing for money.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you just got to play a little bit dirty in order to get that fantasy championship. Tipp, what do you think?
No, I agree. Look, I agree wholeheartedly. Like, first of all, you're playing in a league with people that you usually are having communications with. I mean, even if you are in a new league and it's just an online league, you have communicated with at least one of those people throughout the. Now, if it's a best ball, that's different. But in most best ball leagues, you can't do trades. It's just you set it and that's it. Now, if this is a redraft league, you have had some kind of contact with somebody in that league. Now, if it's a friends league or a league of coworkers or people that you talk to on a regular basis, hell yeah, I'm going to be doing this. I want to take any advantage away from them that's going to be a disadvantage for me or for anybody. I want to take that away from them. I want them to suffer. For instance, I think we talked about it. I had a friend who was in a league and he was down to one running back. That was it. And I was like, well, and the week before I took his last running back, which was Ramondre Stevenson, if I remember, and I gave him a couple of wide receivers. And I was just like, nope, I'm going to take all of the players away from him because he was like really close to me as far as rankings go and where the playoff seeding go. So I was like, I'm going to try to cripple him as much as I can. I know it sounds bad, but that's what you got to do in these situations, because at the end of it all, it's you against him. Some people will say, "Oh, that's mean," but you're trying to win. You're trying to win this pot, this money, whatever, or bragging rights, maybe a trophy or a belt. Like, you want to have that, so you want to give yourself any advantage that you can without cheating.
Yeah, without cheating, exactly. No collusion or cheating. But now, I'm going to ask you another question, Tipp. There was a couple posts that I saw either on like X, Twitter, whatever you call it, or just on the forums and on all that good stuff, where people that were maybe 2-9 or whatever the record is, as David Montgomery scores a touchdown, shoot, I'm going against him in a handful of leagues. Looks like I just took the L, even though it's the first 5 minutes. That's my pessimistic. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. Yeah, okay, I got it. So I mean, the 2-9s or whatever record, out of playoff contention.
Yeah,
I see some posts on the forums where they're like, you know what, I took Isaac Guerrero just out of spite of everybody.
No. Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Hell no. Like, I think a person who is completely out of the, like, for instance, if everybody has locked up the playoff spot, then I think the teams that are not in the playoffs should have an automatic lock on their team to where they can't do that. Now, I will say this. If it's a dynasty league, that's a little bit trickier.
Yes, that's a little different.
Right. If it's a dynasty league, no. If it's a redraft league, you need to lock that team up.
Yeah, because dynasty, no, you shouldn't lock it at any point.
Right.
Redraft, yes, unless there is a punishment for last place. If there's a punishment for last place, okay, all bets are off then in that place. But if there's no punishment for last place, no, the 2-9 last place should not have the ability to screw over the person in maybe 5th place, 6th place, trying to just scratch and claw for a playoff spot that needs a running back, happens to be maybe either second on the waiver priority or have a little bit less fab than the person who maybe didn't take that much time into his fantasy lineup, maybe missed his starting lineup slots a couple times and had an invalid lineup and all that good stuff. But all of a sudden, that guy wants to play a villain. No, that part, to me, no, he shouldn't be able to do that. The commissioner or the league should have a say to be able to veto that, to make sure he does not have Isaac Guerrero on a losing roster that he doesn't benefit at all from.
Right.
I mean, I get it. It's funny. It's something I would do in leagues that I clearly didn't make the playoffs. And I would do it just for the giggles where, if I can, I'm going to do it. But under no circumstances should you be able to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
All right. That was my 2 cents in rant in that instance. But, before we hit record, Tipp, we were kind of talking about this because I was kind of mentioning it to you because we had the hopefully you got Isaac Guerrero in a couple of leagues. And I was kind of thinking to myself, you know what? I had the strategy this year where I kind of wanted to use my waiver priority and my fab earlier in the year because I was trying to chase the Puka Nakua where, he's the all-year starter, all-year must start. And you know what? He was just a league winner a couple years ago. Before that, it was, Devon A-Chain or I'm losing the name here. Philip Lindsay. There we go. Philip Lindsay a couple years ago. But I can't think of one this year.
Yeah. And when we talked about it, the only one, there hasn't been a de facto one. I mean, you had Kareem Hunt. He showed pretty well for us. But yeah, man, it's really been a weird one because there's always that one guy. That's like from week one and it keeps going. He's just one of those guys. I mean, Jennings has had a couple of weeks here and there. He really had that big week in LA against the Rams, but then people I felt like were chasing after that. But yeah, man, it's weird. You're right.
And because of that, usually people say, oh man, save your fab. But in the past few years, I don't think there was anybody at the end of the year that were considered league winners. They were all kind of in the beginning of the year, right? Do you feel differently?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it. So look, I remember. You remember Rashad Penny, right? So I
Yes.
I went and looked
Okay.
at that.
Okay.
I went and looked at that, and I was like, man, that was like 2 years ago, dude. That was like 4 years ago when Rashad Penny had those 3 weeks. It was like 3 weeks, and he was like running back one, like 2 or 3. He may have been a running back one. He was the RB1 for sure in all those 3 weeks, and won people some championships. So yeah, I was looking at like that guy, and then I was looking at last year. It was Zamir White. He wasn't as he was more like the player like you were talking about earlier, where he'll get you like 15 points, 12 points, but it was consistent. And so yeah, it's just it's one of those situations where it's like there's always that one guy, but who the hell is he? And, but yeah.
This year when we want to discuss league winners, I'm struggling to find some that you found some on the waivers. Like right now, the Browns wide receiving core, they could be potentially considered league winners because of how productive they've been.
Yeah.
Specifically after the quarterback change.
Yeah. Maybe Jameis Winston?
He could be close. He could be close to up there.
Yeah.
Jordan Mason, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you didn't have Christian McCaffrey and you picked up Jordan Mason, okay, maybe he picked, he carried you for the first half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is where I struggle.
Yeah.
I can't think of one this year. I'm sure there's a good one. I just don't know it.
Oh, well, no, but he was drafted though, because these are guys that weren't drafted.
Yeah, like Jordan Mason was drafted too.
Yeah. That is
Rico Dowell might be the closest one.
Yeah, he was even drafted because people were like, well, it's got to be somebody, from
the
Cowboys. Yeah, man, it's been a really strange year. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's crazy. All the teams are going through my head. So I'm like trying to figure out, okay, no, not this guy. Okay, oh no, not this guy. Oh no, he was definitely drafted. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's why I struggle with.
You said Bucky Irving, but Bucky Irving was even drafted too.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I'm trying to think of one.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm really struggling with it. And that pisses me off that I can't think of one.
Right. Dang. You know what'll happen is like either somebody will comment or will it like late one night be like, oh, this dude. And then
this guy right here.
Right.
Maybe DeAndre Hopkins was probably drafted.
Yeah, he was even drafted late. But yeah, he was even drafted. Man, dude, I hate that. This is a really, really good one. Huh. That, man, I don't know, Nader. That sounds like a tweet to me.
I'll have to look it up. It's something we're gonna have to like ask and then look up. All right. Okay. Well, while we're doing that, we're gonna move on. So hopefully you guys got him. Hopefully you guys got Garendo, whatever the hell you say his name, because I think he will be a huge, huge impact for those fantasy playoff pushes, and specifically the playoffs. Because it's not easy and it's not common to pick up a potential RB1 this late into the year. And the fact that you had the opportunity to do so, hopefully you were able to get him. But all right, while moving on to the picks, Tip, do you happen to remember any of the last week ones?
Yep, I sure do. The only one we disagreed on was Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, he got his catches in like the first drive.
Yeah, he ended up getting his catches. So that was the only one we disagreed on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, other than that, they were pretty straightforward last year. And right now, I'm looking at Saquon Barkley against Carolina, 114 and a half rushing yards.
Dude, that's got to be a smash. It's got to be. I mean, the only way he won't get that is if he gets banged up, knock on wood. But, like, that's the only way, right? Right, Nader?
You would think so. I'm thinking that, one, the Panthers haven't been that bad, honestly. The past handful of weeks,
they have picked it up.
They picked it up. They're not like that sleazy of a team. In my opinion, they're not that sleazy anymore. That being said, I definitely think Saquon gets over the 114 mark. The only reason he won't, in my opinion, is that if he gets taken out early, or they kind of use it as like a rest week for him.
I had the pin ready for you. I was about to write it down.
No. I think I'm with you on this one.
Yeah. No, but you wait, but Nader, you bring up a good point though. You just said about what if they rest him though? Because what if they're up so big, because yes, Carolina has been playing more competitively, but what if they're up, because Philly in the NFC, you can argue that they've been the better team, besides the Lions, but they've been one of the better teams in the NFC. So yeah, if they get up really big, they're going to be like, man, look, Saquon, you're at 16 touches right now. You've got 80 something yards. We're beating them by 30 points. We're not going to play you anymore. And Saquon's the kind of guy that'll be like, oh, okay, that's cool. You know what? Yeah, let the other guys eat. Let them eat. And that that's the type of guy Saquon is. So that would suck for fantasy.
It would suck for fantasy. Actually, no, it's okay. I think I'm going against him in a win or lose for fantasy playoffs this week. So I mean, hey, come on. Yeah. Come on, baby. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right, let's go to Jalen Hurts for a second. You know what? Real quick. 212 passing yards and a half.
Let me. I think this is a good one. I'm happy you went with this team because what is it? 212. 212. He's got that twice in the last 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, 6 weeks he's gotten it 3 times. I think he does go. I think he does. I think they've got to get this pass game going because that's the thing that's slowing him down. They obviously know Saquon is Saquon, and the run game is great, but they got to get this pass game going. If they want to do anything in the playoffs, they got to get this pass game going, and they got to start stronger. So I think Jalen Hurts gets to 212.
I'm going to go under just because, yes, he's gotten it a handful of times in the past couple of weeks, but even then it was 236 against Cincinnati, 230 against Jacksonville, 202 against Dallas, 221 against Washington. Like he's barely getting, he's not like eclipsing it with like 300-yard games.
Right.
He's getting like 230. He's barely getting there. Like one last first down and he might not have it. I'm going to go under.
Okay. That's a good points. Good points. But I really think they gotta be big brother on this one. They gotta be the big brother that like beats up on the little brother. You got brothers, right?
Yes.
And every once in a while, like you would beat up your big brother, or like you would hit your big brother, like he didn't see you coming, and you would hit him, and then you thought he forgot about it, but he'll end up getting you. That's like that big brother thing. I think that they gotta really beat up on the little Panthers this week, man. They really got to. If they're gonna prove anything to me, and for me to say that, okay, I really need to take this team seriously as a contender in the NFC with Detroit, they got to beat up on these dudes because Detroit, it looks like right now is up 7-0, got the ball back, and they're beating up on or trying to beat up on the Green Bay Packers. So I need them to do that. I need the Eagles to be big brothers this week and beat them up.
Yeah, which honestly I think they do. I really like the way the Eagles are playing football.
Yep.
So Jamar Chase, he's a big, he's a big name dude.
Yeah, he is.
Right now he's a little bit questionable. I don't think he's actually questionable, but you know what? Right now his status is questionable for the game.
Yeah.
Against Dallas, 77.5 receiving yards.
Oh, I'm taking the over on that one, brother.
I'm going the over.
Yeah,
I'm going the over.
Easy.
I'm going the over on that one. Now,
crazy. That's where he's at right now, 77?
77.5 is where he's at against Dallas.
He might have that in the first half.
He might, yeah.
First quarter.
First drive. No.
First drive.
Okay, so right now, we're going to go one more. I want a quarterback passing yards.
Okay.
I want a quarterback on passing yards. Patrick Mahomes. Total 264.5. This is including rushing yards.
Oh.
264.5.
Oh. I'm still gonna take the under.
You're gonna take the under? Yeah, for some reason his stat line, the betting line on that one combined both of them.
Yeah, they're being funny. I see them. I'm taking the under on that one. This Chargers team is, and they travel just as well as they travel away. When they travel away, they play just as well on defense, especially passing. I think they give up something crazy like 183 yards when they're away. So that's that we talk about that during this time of the year because this time of the year it usually gets colder and they travel and defenses you try to find out which teams are that travel well and they have done both. Now it isn't KC. We already talked about that. So I wonder what the KC weather is going to be like because it can get kind of funny over there. Let me check their 10-day forecast because if it gets a little funky. Those LA boys, see, like right now, dude, it's 20 degrees over there, bro. It's
cold.
Sunday, 39. So now I'm not worried about it. They do have 13-mile-an-hour winds. Okay, that's something, but not really with these guys who are throwing the ball. I still think he gets the under.
So the last few weeks, he's gone 306 passing yards, just straight passing, 269. 196, 266, 291, 262. So he's eclipsed 264 total yards.
He's starting to heat up.
All but once in the past 5 weeks.
And
I think he does it again.
Though. You think so?
Yeah, I think he does it again.
What was the total again?
264 and a half.
And that's just total yards.
Total yards.
Make sure to write that down because I'll be like, no, you said 264 passing. All right. And this is Patrick Mahomes. You took the over. I took the under. All right. That was good. We got another one?
Let's see. You know what? All right. We'll do one more just for fun. George Pickens. No. You know what? We're going to go to fantasy MVP. For me, Trey McBride, he's fantasy MVP.
Yeah, he's been hot, dude. And wait, I don't think he scored a touchdown.
I think he has maybe 2 all year. No, he has not. He has 0 all year.
Oh,
he has 1 rushing.
God.
1 rushing. He has 1 rushing touchdown.
1 rushing touchdown.
1 rushing
dude,
touchdown.
That's insane, bro.
That's crazy. And he's probably tied at 1. Him and Brock Bowers should tied in 1, I believe. And then Trey McBride, number 2, with 1 touchdown. That's crazy.
Yep.
All right. With him, 68 and a half against Seattle.
Trey McBride?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he does it. He had like 130 yards last time they played. I think he does it. Yep.
Yeah, I'm smashing the over.
Yeah, they're gonna feed him, dude.
Oh yeah.
They need to just get him in the end zone. If he gets in the end zone, oh my, could you imagine what his points would be like?
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. I've been waiting for it. I have him in, I want to say like 80% of my leagues.
Yeah.
I made a priority to get Trey McBride this year. And, it's paid huge dividends in that tight end spot. But all right. So right before we get to the main topic of the episode, I need some help.
All right.
I need some help with my fantasy lineup this week. And I you know what? I'm struggling with what I want to do. This is what I call I'm just that good at drafting.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm just calling it. I'm just this good at drafting. I can't figure out to set my lineup. But all right.
Bro, wait, real quick. Quick, Nader. Are you watching the game too? The Packers in the line? Did you just see the camera go to that guy who has a cheese grater and he's grating the cheese? I
didn't see that.
Bro, that was hilarious, bro. Like he had a cheese grater in the stadium. That should be a weapon, first of all. But he had a cheese grater in the stadium, and he had a block of cheese, and he was grating the cheese.
I need to see that. So I'm an idiot because I'm looking at it right now. Uh-huh. I'm an idiot for multiple reasons. Oh, it just showed it right now. Oh shoot. Oh, oh, that guy's a G.
That is awesome.
That's awesome. Okay, so I'm an idiot because not only is the game on Twitch for free, I by default I just pulled up a third-party streaming service to watch it on, and of course, third-party streaming services, usually when I watch Red Zone on there, just snitched myself out on that. It's a couple minutes delayed, and that's why I just saw the cheese grating right now, just because it's delayed for me. So you know what? As I switch right now to the actual one, thanks for reminding me, by the way. Let me lower the volume. All right, so I need help with my lineup. It's not looking pretty.
Okay.
Because you know what? I just don't know who to start. They're just that good. That's it. I'm patting myself on the back. And you know what? If you drafted like me and you listen to me, then you'd be having this problem too. But all right. So right now, Lamar Jackson's on a bye. I have Justin Herbert. I'm probably just going to plug and play him. I kind of don't really want to because he's going against Kansas City. But on the waivers right now, there isn't just too much available.
Okay.
There's nobody available. I lied. Like Daniel Jones, Drake May, Derek Carr, Will Levi. Actually, Russell Wilson's on there, but he's going against Cleveland.
I like that one. I like Levis too. Like, look, I know it's not ideal. You don't want to do that to yourself, but I think that he can return some points to you going against that Jaguars defense, man. I really do. I really think that he can get you some points this week. He's been throwing the ball down the field. Nick Westbrook-Akine, he's been getting touches, although he's only got it's crazy. Nick Westbrook-Akine has got 8 touchdowns, I think, on the season, right? But he's got I'm going to tell you right now, he's got less than 20 catches on the season. I know that for sure because, I mean, you can count here and see that that's less than 20. So that's insane, first of all. But he's been getting touchdowns. Calvin Ridley is going to be going back to Jacksonville. I think Will Levis could be a guy that you can actually get and pick up this week for a streamer because it's also that dreaded B word this week. We got a bunch of teams on that. So that's something too. So yeah, that's the only thing.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the only reason why I need a quarterback is because Lamar Jackson's on a bye. But right now, yes, as I look at it, I already had Justin Herbert on the roster. I'm still not comfortable with that. Will Levis is available. Russell Wilson is available. Those are kind of the 2 quarterbacks that I'm interested in potentially for Justin Herbert. How do you feel? Out of the 3, and the only reason I would smash start Justin Herbert, but he's going against Kansas City.
Yeah, well, if it was in LA, I would say yes, but it's away, so that's what's making it a little bit more like, okay, this could be a slow, methodical run. It's not a real shootout. I don't know, but man, they didn't do well last week.
Yeah.
Okay. I will say this. If Lad McConkey plays, I think you go out there and roll with Justin Herbert. Will Dissly's going to do well because that's what the Kansas City Chiefs do. They give up points to the tight ends. Look at what Brock Bowers did last week. I don't think Will Dissly's going to have a week like that, but I think he definitely doesn't get you 0 points like he did last week. And if Lad McConkey plays, Nader, I think that you still go ahead and do it. I think that I was talking to Greg Kellogg earlier today. Greg Kellogg thinks that Kamani Vidal, this is going to be his week. He's been saying that since week 1, and I don't know, but I think if anything could be this week because they're going to need to. I'm not saying they need to score points, but they need to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, and they'll do that. Or they're going to try to do that. So I think you still go out with Justin Herbert as long as McConkey plays. If McConkey does not play, then I would go with Russell Wilson.
Fair enough. I kind of agree with that as well. Yep. But a little bit of me isn't. I'm not that mad at Russell Wilson. It is against Cleveland. I'm not that mad at it. Let's see. I think he's played Cleveland before this year.
Yeah, that was the snow game. That was a snow game, and he struggled a little bit. Yeah,
he did struggle. Let me look. Cleveland. He still put up 18.5, actually.
That's not bad. Yeah, that's not
bad at all. Honestly, I think I kind of want to do it just for the giggles.
Yeah, okay. No.
Honestly, I think I'm just gonna do it.
And I think I looked at the weather in Pittsburgh. I think it's not. I don't think it's any snow. It's gonna be cold. I mean, it's always is this time of year, but I don't think it's gonna be crazy snow or anything like that. It's actually gonna be 32 degrees, bro. That's nothing. That's nothing for them. Yeah. Good thing they're not playing today. It's another wintry mix.
Okay, so you know what? All right, I got him in my starting lineup. Let's put Russell Wilson in there. All right, now let's look at the running backs real fast. And this is where I think I struggle the most with the wide receivers. Now, I think this is full point PPR.
Okay.
James Cook, DeAndre Swift, Rico Dowell, Tyrone Tracy, are my I have more rostered, but those are just mostly handcuffs at this point. Those are the 4 that right now I could fill. I only have 2 running back slots and one flex.
Okay.
So let's see. I know I feel like I have to do James Cook and DeAndre Swift. I feel like that's not necessarily like a no-brainer, but I feel like that's their must start at this point.
Yeah. Though I did see that DeAndre Swift was a little. I think he's
a little
not
questionable.
practicing. Yeah. So
Yeah, it was like that last week.
yeah.
I'm not too worried about it. Of course, if he does not play, I'm probably going to slice in Rico Dowell because he's going against Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
Suspect defense. Tyrone Tracy is going against New Orleans. That's not that great either, but I think I trust the Cowboys a little more than the Giants.
Yeah.
Now the wide receivers. Now, of course, I could put Rico Dowell or Tyrone Tracy in my flex spot, obviously. But for wide receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams,
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle,
Yep.
Hopkins, and Elijah Moore now. Start 3.
Another guy.
Yeah.
I really like Elijah Moore. I
Yeah.
think the Amon-Ra, you're already playing him.
Yeah, he's playing right now.
Yeah. So Jalen Waddle's an interesting one because
Against the Jets, yeah.
Yeah, it's against the Jets. He has been terrible for the most part of this year. But I think that no, I still don't feel comfortable playing him. He's been bad. And Jonnu Smith is there. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna do Waddle. Okay. Well, wait, but you're playing Waddle?
Right now, Waddle's not in my starting lineup.
He's not.
Last week it was Amon-Ra, Devontae,
okay,
Elijah Moore, and yeah.
I think you just wait and see on Elijah Moore. Hopefully he's playing too, because I heard that he was banged up. I don't know how.
I think he got healthy today. I think his status changed to healthy.
Okay. Well then, yeah, if he's good, I think you go with Elijah Moore. Since he practiced. Yep, full. Since Jameis Winston's been back or played, he's been
killing it.
Yeah, he's 12 targets, 9 targets, 8 targets, 5 targets. That was okay. And then 14 targets last week. I mean, yeah, he's not really scoring, but as long as you're getting targets like that and you got Jameis Winston throwing the ball as much as he's going to throw it, yeah, I think Elijah Moore is the play for sure.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to agree. Okay. So now my flex.
All right.
So, I mean, of course, if Waddle's sitting down, I got DeAndre Hopkins available as well.
Mm-hmm.
So DeAndre Hopkins or Tyrone Tracy or Rico Dowell. Or we could do Jalen Waddle if you want him in the flex.
Yeah, still, I like Dottle and I like Tracy's been a little bit of a disappointment. I think you go Dottle. Dottle, you were the one that said that you think he could be a league winner, right? Was that?
What are we talking about?
Dottle? Rico Dottle?
Rico Dowell, yeah, he could be.
I'm starting to kind of agree with you. I think that the Cowboys, yeah, Tracy, I mean, he had an okay week last week, actually. He's playing New Orleans. Let me go to my bag of tricks. Hold on.
See, this is where I'm struggling. I've been looking at this for a minute now.
This is a struggle here.
I know.
Let me go to the bag of tricks. All right. Rico Dottle or I would go in this one. I would go Tyrone Tracy based off of what I'm looking at. New Orleans, they've given up over 130 yards the last 3 games. This is in New Orleans. In New Orleans, they are giving up 162 yards per game. So this is weird. Let me confirm that it is in New Orleans. Hold on. No, it's not. It's in New York. Oh, okay. So hold on. Oh, that changes things because when they play away, they are actually a little tougher against the, but not much tougher. They still give up right at 100 yards. I'm gonna go Tyrone Tracy in this one, man. Let's switch it up. Let's go Tyrone Tracy. Cincinnati has been a little bit better against the running backs as of late, so I'm gonna go Tyrone Tracy. Final answer. Just because it's still hard to trust Rico Dottle, although he's been really good lately.
Okay. All righty. Now I got Kittle and Jonnu Smith as my tight ends.
I think you keep riding with Jonnu, man.
Yeah. Last week I started George Kittle, actually. Well, I didn't start him. I just forgot.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that the 49ers, they're starting to see, the end of their season coming to fruition, man. I think that they're like, why even bother at this point? I mean, they're still going to play hard because it's a good organization. They're tough minded, but it's going to be one of those things where it's just like.
And for Titans defense, I'm starting them as well against
Titans going against Jacksonville. Yeah, that's a good pick. Yeah, very good.
All righty. So this is my every week struggle. It's not just this league. A lot of leagues I'm like, I can't be the only one like this where I'm like, God, these are like all good players. Yeah. What am I looking at here? Anyway, so at the end of the year, the end of the regular season year, I think it's super important to consistently look back and kind of self-analyze. Look at yourself in the mirror. Not your actual like life decisions, but your fantasy decisions, because clearly that's way more important than your life decisions. Like, come on, let's be real for a second. 100% real. The fantasy decisions, and to look back at your drafts and ask yourself, okay, what happened here? If I was wrong, why was I wrong? Was there a thought process that I just was not looking at properly? Or was it just a flyer where I needed something? Or did I completely misread the situation? Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of the times when you completely whiff on a player, hindsight's always 20/20, and you can kind of understand why you completely whiffed on a player.
Yeah.
Like, is there anybody on the top of your head, Tip, where you're like, you know what, I whiffed on this guy, it's my fault that I misread the situation? Or is there like, okay, you know what, it just didn't happen the way I thought it would?
Yeah, I whiffed on Trevor Lawrence. I was really big on him this year. I was big on the whole Jacksonville Jaguars team. I was big on Trevor Lawrence. I was big on Travis Etienne. I thought that this would be a really good, opportunity for them, but they have just week after week disappointed me, man, and to the point where I almost considered dropping Travis Etienne until I realized, this is a keep or a dynasty league, so I can't do that. But yeah, it's bad, man. It's very, very bad.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is an offense 80% of the time is completely reliant on how good the quarterback plays. Because if the quarterback plays good, obviously the wide receivers are eating. If the quarterback's playing good, then you know what? They can't stack the box for the running back.
Yep.
If the quarterback does his job, the whole offense is able to score those touchdowns, which equals fantasy points, makes everybody happy. Right. But when the quarterback doesn't play well, there's always a direct correlation between how good your fantasy players are doing and the quarterback on that team. Like Saquon, he's always struggled compared to how he is now, just because of the struggling quarterback play that was on the Giants. And it's no coincidence that he's playing a whole lot better now. Now he's with a more coherent, cohesive offense. And it's no coincidence that whichever running back in the Shanahan system is there, they're always productive. It's usually always a coherent, cohesive offense. Mm-hmm. With Travis Etienne, I definitely thought that he was a little bit bust proof. I'm not going to lie. I thought, you know what? They're winning games. The winning games, they're going to run it. The losing games, he's going to get receptions.
Yep.
He's getting neither.
Yeah.
And that's definitely something I didn't expect. I didn't think, obviously, I'm always here telling you Trevor Lawrence is a bad quarterback. I think I've always been here saying that. That's just my personal opinion on him. Yeah. But I didn't think it'd be this bad where he completely took the offense with him, other than Brian Robinson Jr. But Brian Robinson Jr. has been a little bit more inconsistent lately. But of course, now Trevor Lawrence is on the IR for the rest of the year, and that just makes the whole offense difficult to start, including Evan Ingram.
Right.
That's something I don't think we foresaw. I don't think we could have sat here and pulled up any logical solution or any I don't think I can look back to the pre-draft process and come to that conclusion where hindsight's 20/20.
Right.
That's something I don't think I could knock my head over.
Yeah, this was the make it or break it year for me with Trevor Lawrence, because I was like, okay, he's already had a couple of seasons or a few seasons in the league. He got paid. It looked like it was going to be good. I liked Brian Thomas Jr. coming out. So I was like, I liked Gabe Davis going over there. I didn't like him for fantasy, but I know he's a good blocking wide receiver, so I figured that would help too. So it's just been crazy, man. And the whole Jacksonville Jaguars team's been a disappointment. I think they just need to go ahead and just figure out what they need to do for this offseason. If that's move on from Doug Peterson. But like, it's been very, very, very bad, man. And a lot of my teams have suffered because of that, Nader, because I went in pretty heavy on some of those players.
Yeah, I mean, as right now, Christian Watson fumbles and Detroit recovers.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, you know what, some things you just don't expect. I don't think I really expected Breece Hall the same thing to be this disappointment as well. I mean, he's just another thing where even though Aaron Rodgers underperformed, and I didn't exactly expect him to be MVP caliber, I expected him to be a little bit competent. But I didn't think it would really matter for Breece Hall because he's shown that he was productive with less at the quarterback position. He's shown that with Zach Wilson, that he's still a 1,000-yard rusher. Trevor Siemian, he's still a 1,000 rusher. Whoever was there, he's still proved production there. The fact that he's just not having that same type of production, whether it's his ACLs or whatever's going on with him, I don't think there's anything that you could have looked back on and been like, oh yeah, see, this is why I was wrong. It just happened that way.
Yeah, man, it's been really bad for Breece Hall, man. I feel bad for him because he's such a good player. He's fun to watch, man. It's just, and some people were saying, well, it's because Aaron Rodgers is tied to him. Well, my thought process was, well, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is tied to him, and that usually doesn't mean bad for the running back. That usually means good. I didn't know what his suggestion was on that, because look at what Aaron Jones has done. And like, okay, with Aaron Rodgers, you know that he's going to pass the ball a lot in the red zone. You understand that. That's fine. But Breece Hall can catch the ball. But the thing is, the bottom line situation, the bottom line issue with this is the Jets run the ball 21 times a game. When you run the ball 21 times a game, you are going to be one of the last teams. And guess what? Lo and behold, they are the last place teams, tied with my favorite team, the Las Vegas Raiders, at 21.4 carries for the running back. That can't get it done when you have a guy like Breece Hall and you have another running back like Braylon Allen. You got to feed those guys the rock. They should both be getting at least 15 touches per game. So I don't understand the thing. I feel bad for people because I was higher on Bijan Robinson than I was on Breece Hall. And I was telling people that. And I was higher on Breece Hall and Bijan Robinson than I was on Christian McCaffrey. And look, the reason I'm not going to talk about Christian McCaffrey is because he was injured. I'm not going to pick on a guy who's been injured for most of the season. But what I will say is I was a little leery of him. I was totally off. I thought he would come back. I didn't think he was going to be like this. But I was just leery because of it being the training camp situation that Christian McCaffrey was going through. But back to the Breece Hall thing, like I was saying, it's all back. It all touches on he's not getting enough opportunities.
Yeah, and I never really expected him to not get opportunities. I fully expected to get at least 20 touches a game from Breece Hall. Right. But you know what? That's the beginning. The reason why they got drafted this early is because they were expected to be high producers.
Right.
And realistically, the reasons they weren't high producers is maybe coaching, offensive scheme, or quarterback issues. And because of that, I don't want to spend too much time on those guys. That's going to be another conversation for another episode, because we could really sit there and deep dive why they didn't work out or why they did work out, such as Kyron Williams. You know what? He just has a competent offense, competent coaching, competent quarterback, wide receivers and all that good stuff. No brainer why he's productive. Now, for somebody that was drafted at the end of the draft, like for example, Tony Pollard, like I've been trying to tell everybody, you got to get this guy, but we're going to ignore him because I feel like I've talked about him a lot throughout the year. But Chase Brown, aka Chris Brown, he has been probably one of the more consistent running backs in fantasy football from week through week. Yeah, let's see, week 4 through 13. He's posted under 10 fantasy points twice.
Yes. He's been,
and one of them was 9.4.
He's been amazing, man. And
he's
you know,
just been clutch.
I don't, no, go ahead and finish your point. I'll say it.
Yeah, but you know, sometimes I'll ask, okay, but why?
Right.
Why was he clutch? Well, you know what? He didn't really have that much competition around him. His other competition was, I think it was Zach Moss. If Zach Moss is your competition, you shouldn't have competition. All right. If Zach Moss is outbeating you, you're just not an NFL caliber running back, in my opinion. Maybe that's harsh, but I just think that's true.
Yep.
And you know what? Zach Moss just ended up getting hurt. You know, I don't think Zach Moss getting hurt really dug into or really propelled Chase Brown to his must-start status, but it definitely helped. But I definitely think that he would be a higher quality flex if Zach Moss was still there. I still would think that he would be that person that they would go to in passing downs, even early rushing downs, potentially red zone work, because he has been effective in the red zone.
Yep.
But I think looking back on it, you sit there and think, okay, why was he successful? Lack of competition. Honestly, maybe a competent offense. I mean, from an actual NFL perspective, you might ask that, but from a fantasy perspective, no, that's a competent offense, competent wide receivers, quarterback, offensive scheme. Maybe, you know, you can talk about the actual team and why they're losing games, but that's a whole different story, not fantasy related. So I don't really care. Tip, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm so happy you talked about Chase Brown, man. Look, I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit here, Nader. I don't like to do that too much, but I am going to. Back in February 15th of 2024, this was basically, I guess, a week after the Super Bowl, I posted, I said, fantasy football is a year-round grind. Always stay researching. Name a deep sleeper, because at that point, this was a deep sleeper that you're eyeing and will be eyeing, or that you will be eyeing this offseason. Mine was Chase Brown. And look, I said the reason I like Chase Brown is Joe Mixon is out. Brown is a PPR superstar in the making. He has speed, which kills. And at that point, I don't think they didn't have Zach Moss. So I didn't know that they were going to have Zach Moss. And when they got Zach Moss, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I wasn't a little bit nervous. I was kind of like, well, damn, they got Zach Moss. He's a good pass protector, or pass block protector, or pass pro protector. They're going to need that because their offensive line. But he ended up getting hurt. He's not as elusive. He's not as fast as Chase Brown is. And sometimes if you could just get a quick dump off pass, what they do to Chase Brown, he's so quick and fast, he's going to turn that into yardage. So I think they figured out pretty quickly, this guy is good. Like, this guy is really good. I mean, yeah, he may not be as good as pass pro as Zach Moss, but he's still getting a bunch of yardage, getting a chunk of yardage. So I love the fact that you picked Chase Brown, man. That was beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Now you give me a guy, whether he worked out or didn't work out. Talk to me about him.
Yeah, for me, Chase Brown was tops on my list. So I love that
from you.
No. I'm happy you talked about him, because I mean, I'm pretty sure if I would have said him, you would have been like, "Yep," because that is the guy. I got him in one league. I got him. It was a 22-round league. I got him in the 13th round, bro. Like that was awesome. Another guy. He maybe hasn't been as good as Chase Brown, but Jameson Williams. He's been pretty good too, man. He does have a week where he got a dud for you. He had the couple games suspension. But for the most part, he's been getting some work done. He has tailored off or tagged off. He has tapered off since the first couple of weeks. The first couple of weeks, the dude was averaging like 11 targets per game. And then I think they started to get Amon-Ra involved a little bit. They started to feed the ball around to the other wide receivers. But Jameis Williams, he was a later round wide receiver. I remember there was one guy who was like, hey, should I pick up Jameis Winston? Damn it, I'm going to do that all the time. Jameis Williams off the waiver wire. And I was like, yeah, why is he on the waiver wire for? And I was like, that's like a no-brainer. And I think that following week, he got suspended. But yeah, man, it's just one of those situations where he's actually been okay. He's been okay as a flex player for you. He could even bump him up to a wide receiver 3, but definitely a flex player. Or if it's a 2 wide receiver league, in wide receiver flex option for sure.
Yeah, there are top burners in the league, and honestly, I was just about to bring this up in discussion about speedsters.
Yeah,
because the next person I talk about is going to be a speedster, but usually speedsters aren't that fantasy relevant, in my opinion. Like last one I think about that was fantasy relevant would maybe Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah,
I mean, okay. Or Tyreek Hill, or Jalen Waddle.
But
those guys are like speedsters that are fantasy relevant because the majority of the time they're not. Like for example, Henry Ruggs was not fantasy relevant before he got his car accident. He was not. McCole Hardman, sorry. He was not fantasy relevant. Everybody wanted him to be. He was not fantasy relevant. He was just a guy on the Chiefs offense that people gravitated to because he was on the Chiefs offense, hoping that he would be Tyreek Hill. He was never anywhere close to that.
Yeah.
I can't think of another speedster where I'm like, you know what? He was fantasy relevant.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of these guys are like Devin Hester. They're like returners.
Yeah.
Devin Hester was okay sometimes in fantasy, but very hit or miss.
He wasn't. I don't know. I wouldn't call him like a fantasy relevant unless return yards worth it.
I mean, it was supposed to be Tank Dell, but he.
But even now he's struggling.
Yeah.
I don't think he's startable, to be honest.
I agree with you.
Specifically in the wide receiver position, not in the running back position I'm talking about here.
Let me see.
And so while you're thinking about that, I'm going to transition into Xavier Worthy, actually. And for the sole reason of he's a speedster on the Chiefs offense. You're just hoping for Tyreek Hill 2.0 or some variation of Tyreek Hill. And after the first week of the season, where against the Ravens, he had a touchdown, I think 2 touchdowns, I think it was. Everyone think, that's it. This is the guy. League winner. Spend your fab, spend your waiver wire claim, or put him in your starting line. He hasn't done much since then, other than a handful of receptions. Maybe he got a touchdown here or there. But for the most part, no, he was largely a disappointment in your fantasy season. And as I look at it right now, he's only rostered in 73% of leagues. I shouldn't say only, that's a decent amount. But I mean, he's only posted decent scores, I want to say, in about 3 weeks out the year. Yeah, one of them against Baltimore, the Chargers, Buffalo. Other than that, very mediocre performances around the board. And unfortunately, you know what? We fell for that. Okay, he's a speedster on the Chiefs offense. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're shooting for the moon on a mid to later round pick. That's what you should do. You shoot for those high value guys. But him not succeeding shouldn't be a surprise because there's only one Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
And Tyreek Hill was only Tyreek Hill because he learned how to run routes. Xavier Worthy clearly does not know how to run routes properly to gain separation using his speed, other than a couple gadget plays here and there, a couple jet sweeps, couple tosses, a couple gimmicks in order to scheme his way open. Even then, it hasn't proved to be fantasy relevant, specifically throughout the stretch. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's just it's hard to find those guys. I was looking at Kevontae Turpin, but if you're not in a league that doesn't give you return yardage, then
he's still not that relevant.
He's not relevant at all. Like you're right. Not Jaden Reed is. I mean, he's fast, but I don't think you would qualify him as like one of those guys you were talking about. Just right.
Yeah, like a burner.
It's Jameis Williams is like Jameson Williams, really the only guy
that I would call a burner that is fantasy relevant.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. All right, so give me one more, and then we can sign off for everybody. If you have one.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go with. Well, he hasn't been relevant here as of late. Well, we could talk about Tyrone Tracy because he had a surge. It's that, you know what? That could be the guy that we could talk about for the waiver, like the guy we picked up off waivers too, because a lot of people were staying away from that situation at the Giants because they didn't. I think some people did get with Devin Singletary, but Tracy had a stretch there where he was getting you RB1 numbers weekly, and then he had that really bad game overseas, and against the Carolina Panthers. Well, it wasn't a bad game; it was a bad fumble. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he had a game-losing fumble.
That fumble that really I thought would probably, I was like, damn, would that mess with him? But he had the bye week, he got his mind right, and he came back and got you 13 points in week 12 and then 17 in week 13. So Tyrone Tracy would be one of those guys where I'm like, okay, he's been showing us something. Just hope he can keep the ball in his hands and not on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, if he does well, he keeps Devin Singletary on the sidelines. And if that's the case, it's a good news for everybody because I don't think anybody really wants to start Devin Singletary. I hate it when you have kind of two iffy players and don't really know what to do with them. And unfortunately, Devin Singletary is one of those guys. So that's going to have to wrap up this episode. Tip, tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, at Tip Major. You can find me on X. I work with the football guys now, the sports affiliation, working with them, and then 32-bit, obviously, with Nader. And so, and then I do the Rip and Tip space on Thursday nights after the game. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
Well, I hopefully, you know what? The only reason why I would want you guys to find me is if we want to insult people. After that, you know what? I'm all in. I'm all in. So, you know what? Other really stupid story that I feel like I need to tell. This might get me in a lot of trouble, but so one of my buddies, he works at an online gambling company.
Okay.
And, just to test everything out, they had a new online game, a new variant of blackjack. And, he needed some help making sure everything was good. So I was kind of playing it, it wasn't actual money. It was like fluff money. I was playing on it. And I had a chat, it has a little chat where you can kind of talk to the dealer or just talk to the group in general. I was like, I wonder how I could start a shitstorm. And I was like, all right, what could I say that's like not offensive, but like still mean or hurtful or edgy, I guess. And I typed in the chat, I was like, don't you just hate fat people? Sorry for anybody. I just wanted to say something like that. And then the dealer goes, you and me both, man.
Oh my gosh. Nader, you are hilarious, dude. You're crazy.
I thought it was funny. Anyway, crazy. That's gonna wrap up this episode. Other than that, good luck, everybody.
Peace.
I'm ready. I'm ready for all today.